from Mr. Haatz. Let's go for game number 1. Good luck, players. In 3, 2, 1. Tetris. So Japorto has GM version 4, so but the seed should be compatible. Let's see. Yeah, Lombard. J Lombard. Alright, so far Japorto building a strong left, while Mr. Haatz is getting his game started with a double well. Japorto is Tetris ready. Mr. Haatz goes for a couple burns, trying to get ready. First Tetris for Japorto, as Mr. Haatz is still lowering his stack, trying to get back into scoring position. Japorto with a pretty balanced board needs to get piece over to the left. Nice flat burn with the Lombard. Still trying to get the well open, not quite there. Tetris for Mr. Haatz in the lead at 26 for a second, and he's gonna take the lead now. 49,000 points for Mr. Haatz, and Japorto in trouble at 27. Needs to start burning on the left side. He's gonna go for delayed burns. It's getting a bit dangerous. Japorto at 32 and Mr. Haatz at 49. Japorto is working on his stack. Tetris ready. Mr. Haatz in a dig. So Japorto, Tetris ready is gonna take the lead 57 to Mr. Haatz 53. Another Tetris for Japorto to expand his lead to 80. Mr. Haatz in a dig. A bit of a bad call on that Lombard placement, but he keeps digging down. Japorto right now at 80,000 and gets a Tetris to 103. Mr. Haatz at 60, so Mr. Haatz need to clean up. Mr. Haatz right now at 60, Japorto at 103. Mr. Haatz keeps digging. There's a double. Mr. Haatz is continuing the dig right now at 64. Japorto at 104. Japorto going for some delayed burns. Mr. Haatz trying to get back to the bottom. That L is perfect, and now Mr. Haatz is ready finally at 68. Japorto at 109. Both players waiting for the Lombard. There's the Tetris for neither yet. There's a Tetris for Japorto. Japorto now at 134, and Mr. Haatz at 74. Tetris for Mr. Haatz 96. Tetris for Japorto at 157. Tetris for Mr. Haatz at 119. Japorto 158. Japorto is trying to get back into scoring position. Mr. Haatz status ready. Japorto status ready. Both players waiting for the Lombard. Lombard comes for Mr. Haatz, gets a Tetris to 142, catching up, but Japorto maintains the lead at 182. So less than 2 Tetrises separating these players. There's a Tetris for Japorto and a Tetris for Mr. Haatz. Another Tetris for Japorto, expanding his lead to 228. Mr. Haatz is Tetris ready right now at 165. Goes for the Tetris to 188. Japorto at 228. Mr. Haatz Tetris ready. Japorto still trying to set up. Mr. Haatz with a very compact board. Japorto resulting in several attacks and gets a Tetris. Tetris for Mr. Haatz as well. 210 for Mr. Haatz, 251 for Japorto. We are now on the second half of the level. Tetris for Mr. Haatz, Mr. Haatz 233, Japorto 252. Japorto maintain the lead, gain another Tetris to 274. Mr. Haatz getting a Tetris to 256. Japorto's Tetris ready, however, so he might take the lead, maintain the lead still. Japorto with a very dangerous delayed burn high up is not looking good. He needs the right pieces to avoid getting into a very dangerous dig, and this is looking pretty dire. Japorto trying to get his well open, gets pieces over to the left, and there's a Tetris for Japorto, maintain the lead at 300. Mr. Haatz going for some delayed burns at 259. Japorto maintain the lead right now. Mr. Haatz was Tetris ready, but decided not to go for it. 263 for Mr. Haatz, 346 for Japorto. So Japorto with a very strong lead, approaching 100,000 points. Tetris for Mr. Haatz at for Japorto. Japorto 369. Hey now. Mr. Haatz at 287, so we are approaching 100 lines. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto at 391. Mr. Haatz at 289. Tetris for both players. 311 for Mr. Haatz. 414 for Japorto. Japorto is building. Mr. Haatz is doing the same. Mr. Haatz having a double L dependency. Blocks one. Needs still another L. Gets the L. 334 the score for Mr. Haatz. Japorto at 415. We are approaching transition. Japorto right now at 415. Tetris ready. Gets a Tetris to 439. Mr. Haatz with a misdrop on the L. Couldn't get it over. He's in a dig right now. Japorto Japorto right now at 463 and Mr. Haatz at 342. Alright, and we have Mr. Haatz continuing the dig. We got a triple for Mr. Haatz. Japorto right now at 486, Mr. Haatz at 351. Nice spin there from Japorto, transitioning in 8 lines, has 2 Tetris available, 5 lines left now. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto is setting up for a last Tetris and gets it, transitioning at 545. Mr. Haatz has 8 lines left, is burning some. Tetris ready. 458, has room for 2 more Tetrises, gets 1 to 381. And he's gonna get a final Tetris into 19 at 406. Players still on. Continuing here in level 18. Mr. Haatz with a very good game at 712. Sorry, 412. Oh, a bit of a misdrop. He gets the lumber over though. Mr. Haatz trying to regain control of the board. Right now at 415. Japorto at 601. Very strong game from Japorto. Japorto's status ready. Mr. Haatz trying to get his well opened. Trying to lower his stack. Great Salomon dependency. He's gonna keep digging. Last second adjustments there for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz right now at 421. Japorto at 634. Japorto is gonna get another Tetris to 662. Mr. Haatz at 424. Mr. Haatz is burning slowly at 428. Japorto right at 663, over at 200,000 points in the lead. Japorto is Tetris ready, waiting for a Lombard. Great Lombard dependency in column 4, needs to be careful. He's gonna clear the dependency first, tries to rebalance the board a little bit, gets that J all the way over Tetris 4. Mr. Haatz 459. Japorto at 698. Japorto approaching level 24 with 700 already level 23. Japorto keeps going here, currently at 702. Mr. Haatz at 466 keeps going. Japorto building a very strong lead. Japorto right now at 702. Mr. Haatz at 467. Japorto in trouble, gets the lumber over though. Japorto going for a couple burns, has good for a triple, but Mr. Haatz board not looking good here. Japorto at 737, level 24, keeps going. Japorto right now at 741. He's gonna set up for a column 2 Tetris. He will be waiting for the Lombard, taking game number 1 already, by the way. So Japorto, keep going if you want to. Game number 1 is yours. So 776, very strong game from Japorto right now. Japorto needing to clean up, which is looking pretty dangerous. Japorto at 780. Mr. Haatz at 769. Hey now, 469 topped out, sorry. So Japorto still maxable, but requires pretty much perfect play, I believe. Ooh, Japorto's board looking pretty rough, and it looks like left side still reachable, but the Lombards are not coming on time. Oh, there we go. He's still playing from row 2, very risky play, especially for a dust player. He's getting that Lombard all the way over, committed to the, oh, he couldn't get that J over, but he gets a Tetris to 887, so we're gonna look at a 900k game. Max outs might not be in the cards, but still a very strong game from Japorto. 891, looks like the left side became unreachable, and he's taking game number 1. Very strong one from Japorto. GG. Let's give him the first point, and we move on to game number 2. Let's go for game number 2. The seed is going to be 2E. Hello Edward. Hello Brian. We're gonna get ready for game number 2. It's Haatz level selection. Looks like Haatz wants to try some 18, but we'll see how things go for game number 2. And it's 15, the level, the starting level for Mr. Haatz. Let's go for it. In 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Game number 2 is off, and the players are on the same seat, 2E, 2, 4, 6F. Japorto is building, Mr. Haatz is doing the same. Japorto going for a very unbalanced board from the get-go bat, fills in the middle, Tetris ready. Mr. Haatz in the same situation. Getting Tetris ready just now, first Tetris from Japorto, followed by Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz needing to clean it up, currently at 19,000. Japorto 19 as well, so early game. Mr. Haatz is J dependent, gets the J, gets the Lombard, gets a Tetris. He's now at 38, same for Japorto. Japorto, however, accruing quite a bit of push down points. Mr. Haatz will have to start burning. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto at 57. Mr. Haatz trying to get some burns done. Right now at 39, Japorto at 57. Japorto's Tetris ready. Japorto hasn't burned a single line for now. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto now at 76. Mr. Haatz at 46. Japorto is gonna set up his first burn to get Tetris ready quickly. Gets a Tetris to 96. Mr. Haatz looking to go for a row column 3 setup. He's ready. Japorto right now at 96. Tetris for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz 65. Japorto at 96. Tetris for Japorto. Tetris for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz right now at 84. Japorto at 116. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto at 135. Mr. Haatz at 84. Japorto is needing to do some cleanup still. It's looking dangerous for Japorto. Tetris for Mr. Haatz catching up at 105. Japorto still trying to get his well open. He's getting a bit spicy. He's getting some good burns, getting the well open finally. Tetris ready. 138 the score for Japorto, 105 for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz going for column 7. He's gonna go for the late board. Oh, but that's square placement. Okay, it's gonna complicate things a little bit. Gets the Tetris nonetheless. 125 for Mr. Haatz, 163 for Japorto. Getting another Tetris to 184. Very clean game from Japorto. Mr. Haatz still trying to get back in his current position. Mr. Haatz looking to go for a dirty by the looks of it. He's setting up. Mr. Haatz right now at 127. His Tetris ready for a dirty in column 4. Waiting for the Lombard, gets the Lombard. Tetris for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz at 146, Japorto 182, Japorto Tetris ready. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto now at 202. Mr. Haatz still committed to that column 4 dirty, looks like, but it's getting a bit spicy. He's waiting for the Lombard. That square was gonna slow him down a little bit. Pick me. Oh, there we go. Japorto right now at 241, approaching 100,000 point lead again. Mr. Haatz at 169, triple for Mr. Haatz to 173. Japorto ready, waiting for a Lombard. Mr. Haatz is gonna go for a couple burns. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto at 261, very efficient game. Japorto at 261, waiting for a Lombard. Mr. Haatz at 174. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto right now at 280. Mr. Haatz at 175. Mr. Haatz is working on his stack. Japorto right now getting a Tetris to 299, sorry. So Japorto is over 100,000 points in the lead as Mr. Haatz is having some struggles here. We are now in the second half of the level. Japorto pushing down quite a bit, so he is getting pretty ahead in lines, already 9 lines ahead. Tetris for Japorto. Mr. Haatz at 183, Japorto at 319. Japorto's approaching transition. He didn't adjust for the Lombard, but he's gonna get a Tetris nonetheless. 338 for Japorto and 186 for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz right now at 190, Japorto at 357. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto at 377. He wants to go for that 400k transition, is gonna get it pretty easily. Has room for 3 more Tetris, 11 lines to go. Mr. Haatz with 19 lines to go, so lots of work to do here. At 196, Japorto at 377, very clean game. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto 396. There, he's gonna go get the 400k transition. In 15, he's gonna go for a very small burn. His Tetris ready still. Right now at 397, the Lombard's taking a bit to come, gets another burn. He's gonna get a Tetris. And his Tetris ready still. He's on transition at 437. Very strong transition from Japorto. Japorto right now at 437 into level 16. Mr. Haatz still has room for 5 more lines. He will more likely burn through it. Let's see. He's trying to set up for a Tetris, so he has to set up for the triple because he's running out of time. 226 for Mr. Haatz. He's gonna go for a dirty transitions with a dirty to 247. So Japorto is already 200,000 points in the lead. Currently at level 17. He's gonna go for some delayed burns. Japorto at 460. Mr. Haatz at 451. Japorto is ready. Mr. Haatz is currently at 252. Hello. I0OP. And let's see, Mr. Haatz right now 255 and Japorto at 509. Tetris for Mr. Haatz right now at 278. Japorto at 531. Very strong game for that 15 start from Japorto. Japorto right now is gonna be ready for transition. He's gonna go for some tucks. Tetris ready. He needs to be careful. Japorto right now at 532, and there's the Tetris to transition into 556. Japorto, Mr. Haatz is gonna transition at 329. So Japorto is just not stopping and bringing the big paces, especially before 19. So Japorto getting the squares all the way over, still trying to get his current position. Not quite getting there. He is gonna get ready now. Japorto at 586. Mr. Haatz, sorry, at 334. Unfortunately, not reaching the left side, and he's unable to keep playing, topping out at 334. Japorto again with a very strong game. If you want to play it out, feel free to do so. Currently at 642. I didn't even know what's Japorto's PV. He's like the second top Brazilian player in score. Second or third, I believe. He doesn't have a 1.1, that's surprising. Because I know the top one is Insanizo, and I don't know who's second. Johan is in the top 5, I believe, but Japorto is higher. Japorto wins a very dangerous stack. Oh, but the board is falling apart. He's gonna get the Lombard, but not sure if he can survive this. He's not going for the burn, so that's gonna put an end to his game at 731. GG. Let's get the point to... I'm sorry, I gave the point to Mr. Haatz by error. There we go. He's 2 games up, Japorto it is. So let's go for game number... I have the first game on the overlay. Yeah, I already fixed that. Yeah, I didn't scroll. I need to figure out like a hotkey situation where I can just put the scores with a single button. I will figure it out later. Let's go for game number... I suppose the scripting should work. I should learn OBS scripting. Not a bad idea. Let's go for game number 3. That's it's going to be 3F. Game number 3 is going to be decisive as Japorto is already at match point. Give me your ready players and we'll be ready for game number 2. Get it ready. 15 from Japorto. Japorto lacked the 15. So let's go for game number 2. Number 3, my bad. In 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Japorto had a very hot 9 to 15 with a 430, I believe it was his transition. That's pretty efficient for level 15. Well, Tetris is only 1900 and 19200 is the score you get on 15 for a Tetris, right? Yeah, 19200 times 25. So 480 is the maximum amount of points you can get into transition. Actually, not. It's gonna be slightly more. I think it's 481, 200. Anyway, well, only Tetris is like 481 is like the transition score. I think you can get it more efficient if you go for a triple in the Tetris. But I digress. Pretty much a very efficient game for Japorto is not what matters. Japorto right now at 78,000 already, and Mr. Haatz at 59. Hello, Madras, buonasera. Japorto right now at 99 and Mr. Haatz at 78, so not that close from each other. Madros, did I commit to a game with you tonight? Just let me know if I did, because my memory may fail me. Japorto right now at 121 and Mr. Haatz at 117. Very close game we're having. Tetris 4. Okay, yeah. No, I was just thinking maybe some TMP matter happening or anything. Yeah, it's pretty late, I know. Already 6 hours in the future, so 8 plus 6 been 14, so it's almost 3 AM, my goodness. Tetris for both players. 156, yeah, I mean 2 and 30, yeah, I know, almost 3. I mean, it's closer to 3 than to 2 since time moves forward, I guess. In any case, 182 for Japorto, getting a Tetris to 202. Mr. Haatz at 176. Mr. Haatz getting a Tetris to 1995. Very good game from both players. Japorto just playing those crazy efficiencies as the usual, and Mr. Haatz trying to fight back on this key game. There's a Tetris for Japorto, Japorto 221. Mr. Haatz. I keep confusing the misters. It shows that I'm a bit tired. Might take this match between Haatz and Brian, and we'll call it a night, I believe, because it was a tiring day. So good news for those that don't know, I got my US visa, so things were pretty good today, but it was a very exhausting day nonetheless. So Japorto playing pretty hard, just getting dangerous at 220, and actually Mr. Haatz with the lead now at 272 as Japorto has been digging a bit high, and he's not looking good after that miss shift. And Japorto looking in a very rough situation, and Japorto is not sweeping as Mr. Haatz takes game number 3. GG. Sleep is overrated. I mean, kinda. It's good to sleep. Sleep keeps you youthful and in good mood, I guess. So let's get a point for Mr. Haatz, and we'll be getting ready for game number 4. This is going to be 4-0. Let's go Cachucha. Says, otherwise known as Mr. Haatz, sombrerito. Yeah, not also at least that's acceleration. Got ready from Japorto. Give me a second, please. I need to check something here. Let me just... Okay, let me just get here. Game number... Where's my OBS? Game number 4, and the level is 15. Let's go for it in 4, 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Players are off. We got Japorto trying to get Tetris ready pretty quickly. Mr. Haatz doing the same, still waiting for the lumbar, getting ready just now. Mr. Haatz still waiting for the first Tetris, getting in now. Japorto ready for a second. Now burns for another player for now, so clean games. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto right now at 38, Mr. Haatz at 19, Tetris for Japorto, Japorto now at 57, Tetris for Mr. Haatz, 138. Mr. Haatz right now at 38, and Japorto at 77. So the pace is the same right now as no burns have been made for another player, but Japorto is in the lead because he's been pushing down quite a bit and he's ahead in lines. 96 for Japorto, 4 Tetris in, 5 Tetris, sorry. Japorto right now at 96, Mr. Haatz at 76, no burns from Mr. Haatz yet. Japorto's had to set up some burns, goes for a double and gets a Tetris. Japorto at 117, Mr. Haatz at 96, nice adjustment for the J for Mr. Haatz, currently at 96, trying to get back in current position. Tetris for Mr. Haatz, Mr. Haatz at 115, Japorto at 117. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto at 136, Mr. Haatz at 115. Mr. Haatz is building, Japorto is doing the same. Japorto is gonna, Japorto is gonna go for a nice L spin and gets Tetris ready. Japorto right now at 138, Mr. Haatz at 135. Japorto's Tetris ready, Mr. Haatz is ready. Haatz is waiting for the Lombard. Tetris for Japorto, Japorto at 176, Haatz is currently at 137. Mr. Haatz with some delayed burns. I need to advance the board. Not going for the double. Okay, that will block the well. That was a good call. Tetris for Mr. Haatz at 158. Tetris for Mr. Haatz again to 177. Japorto already at 195. Japorto is setting up. Japorto is Tetris ready. Mr. Haatz at 177. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto now at 234. Mr. Haatz at 178. Japorto is setting up. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto at 253. Mr. Haatz is setting up. Japorto right now at 253. Mr. Haatz at 199. Japorto with some trouble. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto at 274. Mr. Haatz at 203. Tetris for Japorto. Japorto at 274. Mr. Haatz at 204. And Mr. Haatz is setting up. Mr. Haatz with some trouble. Mr. Haatz right now at 207, Japorto at 315. Mr. Haatz needs to dig down. Hello, Halo. This is not looking good for Mr. Haatz. Mr. Haatz needs to burn now and he's unable to. Still alive, but yeah, he's topping out 209. Japorto taking this match 3-1. GG. Alright, let's give the point to Japorto, and that's it. I'm gonna be reporting the match in a bit. So, yeah, that was a very unfortunate.